Welcome everyone to the second part of building school management application with Spring Boot, MongoDB and ReactJS. So a little reminder for the goals of this project. So we'll be able to create a school management dashboard in ReactJS and Spring Boot. So we can create student, delete student and list all students. So the final result of the application will look like this in ReactJS and Spring Boot in the backend, of course. So for this part, we focus on the front-end part, and we need Visual Studio Code and Node.js. So to be able to download these tools, you have to go to this website called Visual Studio Code and download it for Windows. The same for Node.js, you have to go to this website to be able to install Node.js. Once it's done, you have to add Node.js to your environment variable. So you have to go here. So it's in French, but in English, normally it's environment variable. You have to go to path, modify, and here you have to add the bin of your Node.js. So that's the path just here, Node.js, Node module, npm, bin, to be able to run some command on your terminal. So once it's done, so we'll be able to create the ReactJS project. So in the first part, we have created the backend API. So we are able in Spring Boot to create student, list, delete student, and list all student. So the only difference is that I have added cross-origin annotation to be able to send requests from ReactJS to our backend Spring Boot. So I will test if my backend is still working. So I will open my Postman. So here I'm listing all my students. So if I want to create another student, so Ronaldo, last name Cristiano, age 34, teacher Maradona, Diego. So now I will create a new student, and if I list this student, so I have my new student Cristiano Ronaldo. So my backend part is still working, there is no problem about this. So let's focus now on the React part. So first, once you have added your Node.js to your environment variable, so you will run this command, npx create React app, and you will give a name to your application, and the template will be a Typescript. So I have already run this command just here. So that's my command that has run just before, because it takes some minutes. So once your React application is created in a project, so for me it's created in this folder just here. So I can go to my folder, React project, school management application, and that's your React project. So once it's done, you have to go to your Visual Studio Code. So in your Visual Studio Code, you have to go here, you have to open folder, and you have to select the folder of the created React application. And you have to select that. So I have already did that. Once it's done, you have to go to terminal and put npm start. So once your project is started, so that's the first result. So in localhost 300, we have this result. So to be able to create the dashboard just here, so we need some new modules. For example, to send a request from the backend, from the front end to the backend, we need Axios. And to be able to display those icons here, we need a React icon. To be able to have a Bootstrap, here we have to install Bootstrap and we have to install ReactStrap. So I can go to my terminal just here And now I will begin to install different modules. So for example, ReactJS, I can just run this command just here. Then after I have to install Bootstrap, then Axios, then React icon final. So now it's installing ReactJS module dependency. So in the project you will see how to use ReactJS dependency. And if you have any problem for installing different tools, don't hesitate to put a comment so I can see how if I can help you or not. So my ReactJS dependency is installed. So now I will install React icon here. So installing. So we close React icon. We close ReactJS. Now I have to install Bootstrap here. We close Bootstrap, and the final one will be Axios to be able to send requests to the backend very simply. And I will close the two websites here, and I can put the website in the video description. So I'm working on Windows, and this tutorial is on Windows. So the last one will be Axios here. And after the end of Axios installation, I will run npm install to be able to install all dependency in the package JSON here. So I have added icons, ReactJS, and Axios here. So now it's done. So the entry point file of our application will be app TSX and index TSX. So in index TSX we are using app TSX. So in the here just here we have to add a dependency. This dependency will be our Bootstrap file. So I will import Bootstrap, this CSS Bootstrap, to be able to read to use Bootstrap for in my project. So first let's create our dashboard. So to create our dashboard, so I will go to search here. So new file. So dashboard TSX, and I have my dashboard created just here. So my dashboard will be a class. So class dashboard. So I will extend component, and here I have to put my states. So my state is here, and that's all. So I have to do some import. So I have to import component from React. It's here. I will use my dashboard, so I have to export my component. And in the state, I have to initialize my state. So I will create interface. So my state is here. And here, for example, for instance, there is no 10. I will add some field afterwards. So now I will use render function to render my component result here, and here return, and here I can put anything. So I will put a little div here. So first, if we see our application this here, first we have to create a navbar, school manager app. So I don't know if I can insert some forms this here. So first I have to create the navbar. So let's create this navbar this here. So now I will use ReactJS. So the component will be navbar here. So I want that the color will be black, so dark, so light, and the margin bottom will be about 2. So here I can add navbar brand. So I have added my navbar brand just here. So I want that the text will be white. So class name text white. So now I will need React icon to create a school outline. So school outline is here, and the class name will be font size. So I have to define this font size in my CSS file. So my CSS file is just here, app CSS. So I will go here and I will create some font size just here. So that's the bigger font size, another one, and another one. So here it will be large, and here medium font size. So the font size here will be about 3 EM. So here it will be 3 EM, 1.5, and the last one will be 1 EM. And now we are good. So here our font size XXL will be about 3 EM. So after that I have to close my school outline. So here I will import the dependencies. So quick fix. So import React from yes. So here I have to import navbar. So navbar is imported, but the navbar brand. So I have a problem to import my navbar brand. So I will delete this to be able to import navbar and navbar brand from ReactJS modules. And for my different icon, so I will import my icon from React icons module. So now we have created our icon just here, our navbar brand just here, and now we'll create the text for our school management application. So class name. So the font size will be large here, and the margin left will be about 3. So I will close my span, and here I will put school manager application, and that's all for my navbar. So I'll format a little bit my class just here, and now let's see the result. So I will take my new component dashboard, I will put my component in app just here, in index.tsx. I have to import my dashboard, and that's all. And now I will run my application. So npm start. So I can split write my file in Visual Studio Code, and this is a good thing. So I'm waiting for my application to be started, and I have my browser just here. So normally we will have only a navbar and not the default icon just here. So I'm waiting to my application to be started just here. Starting development server. Let's check our browser. But after, I won't restart every time my application because modifications are taken into account immediately. So now we are good. Define it but never use it, no problem. So now I have my navbar just here. So that's the first part of our application just here. We have our school manager application. So now let's focus on those cards just here. This one for the card for student, teacher, and employees. So let's do that. So I will return just here. So here I have my navbar, and just after I will begin to creating my different cards. So I have to create a container. It's a React component. So I have my container just here. So to create some space in the top, I will have to use margin top 3. So I have to put this in the div because we are in render. So quick fix. So I have to do the import from ReactJS here. So once our container created, so I will create a row and three code. So a row is here from ReactJS, always from ReactJS and not from Bootstrap because we are using ReactJS. So here I have to create some code just here. So we'll have three columns because here we have one row and three columns, 1, 2, 3. Now we are good. I have to import code from ReactJS. Now I'll format my code. So I will give a size for every call. So the first one will be 4. It's the same for the second and for the third because we have to the result will have to be 12. So after that we will create a card for every call. So for the first call, so I have already created my card just here. So I will need to import my card. So from ReactJS, yes. Second one from ReactJS. Card checks is the same ReactJS, and the button is from ReactJS. So that's the first. Let's see the result. So I don't need to reset my application. So this is my first card. So I have a number of students and some text and a button to manage the students. So now I will do the same for the teacher and for the employees. So I will take my card. I will format before. I will take my card just here. I will put my card in the 2 remaining calls. And I will begin by changing the icon. So the first icon I have used is EO main. The second icon will be school. So it will be EO school outline here. And the last one will be for employees. So I have put setting because employees is very important, and without employees we cannot do anything. So here, for example, I will put 13 employees, and for teacher I will put 20 teacher. So here some text, we can put any text you want. So manage teachers is here, and here we manage employees. So now we are done. So now I have my 3 cards just here, and the result is right. So if I go back to my presentation, we have created those 3 parts. So now I will add this button. I will try to add the button just after my cards. So to be able to add my button, I will create a container here, another container. So for my button, the margin top will be 4. So it's the same thing. I will create a row and a call, and my call will take 12, a size because I want that my button take all the size of the screen here. Now we are good. Now let's create our button. So our button is created. He come from ReactJS, of course. So I want that my button in a block. I want also that the color is green, so I have to put success as color. And that's all. For instance, I want to put any link on this button and to add some text to our button. So I will create a span, and here I will create new student here, and I want that my text take a large font size here. So I will format my code, and now we are done. So if I go to my application here, I have my button just here. So for instance, there is no link on my button. So now we are good about this part. We have created the button to create new students. So now let's list different students just here. Now we list all the students that are that has been created in the database. So if I call my Spring Boot application just here, I have my Spring Boot running. So list student, I have 3 students. So now I will try to display our 3 students. So to be able to display 3 students, so it's the same. I will create a new container. Sorry, I have to only take container. So the margin top will be about 4 it's good. And now I have to call my backend. So to be able to call our backend, so first I have to create a new field on my sales. So here I will get student. The initialization will be an empty array here, and here for my initialization, so I will put state. So my state here, so equal, so I will put my empty student here. So I have a student array in my state, and now I will try to call my backend to put my students in my state. So we'll use Axios, and we'll do that in component did mount. So in my component did mount function, so now I will call Axios, and I will do get. So here I have to put the URL. So the URL will be so http localhost. So I will simply take the URL of my postman just here. So copy and paste the URL just here. So when you will call this request, you will have to put the result in your state. So here, so then you have some res little arrow here, and now I have to so res, I will have some data in my result, and I have to do this set state just here, and here I have to put my student. So I can use create a constant students equal the data of our result, and I have to put my student just here. Here I have to close my Axios request, a little formatting. So now we are good. So now normally I will call the list and I will set student in my state variable just here. So first let's check if it's working. So here I will go to my debugger. So I will go to my debugger and reload. I will go to source. So I'm looking for my dashboard is here. And once you will load your component, normally it will call the backend and it will retrieve all the students in the MongoDB. So we put a breakpoint here, reload my application. Now I don't think it's working. So here I don't see my request. So my request is good because I see my request just here. So for we are calling our backend list. So in the response we have all our students that we are seeing in the postman here. But I cannot debug my dashboard. I don't know why. So I will put a breakpoint here, reload. Now we are good. And now I see my 3 students. So it's working. So now I will set in the state my 3 students. So we are good for the request. Now we'll try to display our different students. So to be able to display different students, I will use a function. So for example here in my container I will put so this state. So here I have my different students and I will use map function, and for every student I will call this function render student, and I will put my student as parameter, and I will create a function render student. So to create a new function is very simple. So function, so here render student, and here we have our student, and that's all for this function. So in this function we have to return something. So every time I will return a row, so row just here. So now let's display the result of every student. So it will be for the first student I have already created the component. So I will simply copy paste. So for every student, so I have to import card body. So I will use EC for every student. So it's not working. I don't know why. So I will take my function here. Here, as quick fix, I will add new function. So I will put the result of my function here. We'll delete this. I have to import my card footer. So here my student, I will just use st. I won't use those types here. I don't know if I have a quick fix for the typing. Okay. So I think I have to add something in my test config so that I stop having some warning. So I will go to the old project. So here I have to go to tsconfig. Not embarked. It will take many time. So in my tsconfig file, I have those parameters. So I will compare with my current tsconfig file. So I will add this, no implicitly init any. Normally I will get rid of this problem, and I have just get rid of this problem. So now we are good. We have created a render for every student. Here we have the button to be able to delete a student. So I have to create a new function, add missing function, delete student. And here it will be very simple. We'll call Axios a second time, and I will simply post. So Axios post, I will take my URL to delete student just here, and I will add the ID of my student, and we are done for the deletion. So now for every student I will render this function for every student, and now let's see the result. So this is our application now. When I load my application, I retrieve the list of students, and here my different students. Dana White, the first student, Maria Teresa, and Cristiano Ronaldo. So for the class, I have just put a default value second year, but the age and the teacher are retrieved from MongoDB. So here list, I have my different student here, and here we find exactly the same student from my MongoDB. So let's check our delete button. For example, I want to delete Cristiano Ronaldo. So delete. I will reload my page, and I don't have Cristiano Ronaldo, so it's deleted. So here list, I don't have Cristiano Ronaldo, deleted. If I want to delete Maria Teresa, delete, reload, and it's deleted. Now I have only Dana White. So now let's go to create a new student. So to be able to create a new student, we will need a model. It's from ReactJS 2. So first I will create a new component. So here I will go to source, new file. So here creation model TSX. So I have my model just here. So here I can take this, put it in my creation model. So I will need to export my class. The name will be creation model. In my component, I only need some props. So here my props is here. So here I will need to declare my props. So I will have two props. The first one is a boolean to say if my model is open or not, because we have to close our model in some times. And I have to toggle, so to close my model. So that's my creation model component. So now I have to use a render. So my render will be just here. In here I have to return a model. So I create a model just here, and it's a ReactJS component. So the model is normally a ReactJS component, but here, so I will put my import just here to be able to import my model. I will format my code. So I have my model. I will add some parameters here. So in my model, I will have many other components. So a model header. So we are done with our model header. We'll have a model body here. So in my model header, I will use a function toggle. So first I need to say if my model is open or not. So is open. So now I will take the props value. So props. So these props is open this here. So I have to import my component here. Now I can use the value of my props, and I will also have to use a toggle function. So toggle equal, so it's the same, it's these props, and to toggle this here. And in the model header I will also use this toggle function, and the text will be, for example, adding new wise student. And now I have to create a form to be able to create a new student. So form just here, and I have to create the different field of my form. So I have to create row just here. And for every row I will have two columns, one for the field, the other one for the value. So in the row we don't put anything. In the first call we put, so I will have two calls here. In the first one, I will use label here. So first, I have to put the first name of student. So first name is here, and in the field it will be so an input. So the ID will be first name here. So the name of my input will be first name, and the type will be text. And we are done for our input. So let's format this, and that's our first value of our form. So let's create the other value. So first name, last name, age, and teacher. So first name, here we have last name. So the same for the ID and the name of our input, last name, here the age, and the age will be a number, and the last one will be teacher. So for the teacher, so here teacher, for the ID, for the name, and the type will be a text. And after, I have to create a button to send the creation of my student. So the color will be primary. So color equal primary is here, and the text, so create new student. So now we are done. We have created our form just here. So once we have validated the creation of our student, we will call a function handle submit. So I will go here, I will create a function handle submit. So I will receive an event here. I will use a raw function, and first I will put event prevent default behavior, because you want to control the behavior of your form. So here I will retrieve some data of my form. So data equal new form data here, and here I will retrieve the target of my event. So event target simply, and now I will build my student object. So constant variable student equal, and now for my student I have to get a first name equal, not equal, but data get, and here I will try to retrieve the first name, and that's the same for the other field. So last name, teacher, age. So here we have our last name here, the age here, and the teacher is here. So let's format this. And once we have created our student object, I will call Axios, and this is a post method. So in my post method, so I will put my URL here and my student object, and the student object will be the request body of my Spring Boot application here. It will be interpreted as a request body just here. So for the URL, you have to go here, create, copy paste the URL from Postman, and you put your URL here. And now we are done. almost done, because once the student is created, we have to close our model. So I will call this box struggle, and now we are good. Now we are good for our creation model. So now let's go to the dashboard, and before the last container or anywhere you want, you can put your model. Yes, here the name of my model is creation model here, and I have to put the two properties. So is open equal, so here this state is open, so I have to add a field in my state, and the other one will be toggle in here in this dot toggle. So here I have to add a new field to my state just here. So my state, it will be is open, will be boolean, and here I have to initialize my boolean. So first the model will be closed, of course, and I have to add the other function, which is toggle, to be able to close our model once we have created our student. So we'll create the toggle function here. So now I have to call this state. Now I will use the previous state of our open boolean just here, to be sure that I will change the value of this boolean value. So now is open will be equal to will be different from previous state value. So is open just here. So now I can format my project, and now we are done. So I have my dashboard just here, my creation model just here. I'm calling Axios to send our new student, and I am calling also Axios to list different students, and finally to delete student. So I will display all the code so you can check screen or other. So now I am displaying every part of our code. This is the different cards, and now I am displaying the model is here, so you'll be able to get the same project, because this is the purpose of every tutorial on Java Growth channel. And here I have model body. I don't know if I have anything in my model body. So here I have model header, but I have to put my form inside model body. So so in the TS config I have added these properties, and the package JSON there is different dependencies that we are using. So that's all. So let's go to test our application. I don't know if it's working or not. So let's open the browser just here. So load. So here I have only one student, Dana White, and the teacher is both of course. So let's try to create a new student. So now it's not working. I think we have still some problem here. So I have my cards here. My creation model is just here. So what's going on? So first, our model is our model is closed. I have to call this toggle from my creation button. So that's the problem. So to do that, we go to our creation button just here. This one, create new student. So create new student just here. And I have to add a new function. So to be able to create a new function, I will simply use onClick. So I will go here, so onClick equal, and now I will call the toggle function, so this toggle. And now we are done. So let's go to our browser. We have our different student just here. I will create my first student. So it will be, will change a little bit. So Usman Ngannou for UFC champions 35, and the teacher is Habib Eagle. So create new student. I will reload my application. So there is some problem because my student is not created. Why my student is not created? So here I am posting creation. So here I'm using handle submit. I'm missing something. I don't know. Yes, I'm missing in the form. So here on submit, I have to call my function this under submit. And now I think it's the last problem. So now I will create a new student, first name Usman, last name Ngannou 35, and the teacher is Habib the Eagle. We create our student, reload, and now we have our new student just here. So let's create another student. So a girl student, so Maria. So last name will be Clara, age 25, and the teacher is Madame Dubarry. For example, create new student. So here we have a third student this year. We can delete student. I will delete browse buffer. No. So we have deleted student. So as you see, it's working. We can create new student, delete student, and list all students. And if you go abroad, you can edit student and make this button clickable. So when you click on manage student, you will simply create list and do some operation on student. You can do the same on teacher. You can do the same on employees. And if you want to develop a complete application, you can link some student to teacher and other stuff. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, and see you for the next video. Thank you.